Welcome to the Basics of Networking. My name is Megan Miley, and I'm presenting today on behalf of Career Solutions. Career Solutions is a Twin Cities-based career counseling nonprofit organization serving displaced homemakers. If you'd like more information about our organization and the services we provide, please check out our website at www.careersolutionsInc.org or call us at 651-647-9961. To begin the presentation, I'd like you to look at this list of job search activities and to ask yourself, how are you spending your time looking for a job currently? I encourage you to pause this presentation now and to write down on a piece of paper approximately how many hours per week you are doing each of the following activities. Please pause the presentation now. After you have completed the job search activity list, let's take a look at the ways that people actually get their job. According to data collected by the Department of Labor, you can see that people get their jobs in one of 5 ways. Nearly half of the currently employed workforce acquired their jobs through referrals. This means that 49% of the workforce were personally referred to their current jobs either by individuals who are in positions of hiring or worked for the companies themselves or had connections at the hiring companies. A quarter of the workforce got their jobs through direct contact, meaning that 24% of employed individuals had a direct connection to the person who hired them and knew them personally. This could mean that the person hired knew their current supervisor from a previous employment situation, or met them at a job fair, professional organization meeting, or simply met them in person through an informational interview. Another quarter of employed individuals found their jobs through temporary agencies or placement firms. Lastly, only 5% of our current workforce found their jobs through advertisements. This could mean a newspaper or an online job posting. All of this data begs you to question, are you spending your job search time effectively? If you are spending the majority of your time looking for jobs and filling out online applications, I'm guessing your job search has not been incredibly effective, based on the fact that only 5% of the current workforce found their jobs through advertisements. Consider this: referrals at 49%, added to direct contact at 24%, equals 72%. Therefore, 72% of jobs are found through the act of networking. Are you spending 72% of your job search time networking for jobs? If you are spending 5% of your time networking and meeting people in person, and 72% of your time looking for jobs online, your job search is likely not going well. The majority of job seekers know about the concept of networking, and they've been told how important it is. You may not have been aware of the specific statistics I just presented, but I'm guessing you were well aware that networking is one of the most effective ways to find a job. With all of this in mind, the question you must ask yourself is, what is stopping you from networking? When I have asked this question in front of a group of people, I hear many different types of reasons for why individuals struggle with networking, including not knowing where to begin, confusion related to the rules or etiquette of networking. Some individuals don't want to waste other people's time. Shyness is often a reason given. When we get into the heart of the matter on the topic of networking, I usually find that there are 2 specific things that stop people from networking. These 2 reasons include fear of rejection and a general lack of interest and motivation in networking. If you are afraid of rejection or someone turning you down for a networking opportunity, think of this: how well has your online job search been going? If you have been turned down or simply not contacted after applying to dozens of jobs, you're probably already getting used to rejection. The thing that most people don't understand about networking is that people like to talk about themselves. If you make a networking appointment, be sure to ask questions about the person, their background, and their company. Most people are dying to tell their personal stories to anyone who will listen to them. So when you look at networking situations in this regard, rejection becomes much less of an obstacle. In regards to lacking motivation to network, hopefully the Department of Labor Statistics and your current job search struggles will provide some motivation for networking. And then think about this. Did your parents have to network to get their jobs? Unless you had a parent who was in sales or owned their own business, you likely did not grow up in an environment that required networking finesse. Did you sit around the dinner table talking about how you would network to find your first job out of high school or college? It's important to look at these two factors, the fear of rejection and lack of motivation for networking, as you start out to effectively look for a job. If you are struggling with how to get started with networking, take a look at this diagram. See that empty red circle in the middle of the page? That's you. You'll note that I have used specific colors in this diagram to illustrate the concept of a warm and cold network. Basically, the closer you are to people, the warmer this networking contact is. Therefore, you'll see your first ring of contacts in orange and yellow circles. These contacts include family, friends, previous and current supervisors and coworkers, professional organizations, LinkedIn connections, current and previous education contacts, and lastly, contacts through hobbies and religious affiliations. How many of the people you know that you are looking for work and know specifically what kind of work you're looking for? It's likely that your colder contacts that are listed in blue and purple are more likely to be helpful in your job search. These are the people that your contacts know. And why is that? Basically, it's because if everyone in your network already knows you are looking for a job, then you would have found that job already. You must get into what's called the hidden job market, or the unknown opportunities that the people your contacts know in order to make the necessary connections that will likely land you in the job you are currently seeking. According to Katherine Hansen, the author of A Foot in the Door, Networking Your Way into the Hidden Job Market, there are a number of rules or networking etiquette you must keep in mind to increase the effectiveness and time you spend networking. First of all, know your purpose for networking. It's important to know what kind of job you are looking for and how the person you are meeting with can assist you or what you hope to learn from that person. Secondly, do your homework. When you are meeting with someone, check their LinkedIn page to learn about their experience and use the internet to learn as much as you can about the company they work for. Ask intelligent questions based on the information you've gathered about them and their company. The next piece of advice Katherine offers is don't act desperate. Keep the meeting upbeat. Don't outright ask for the individual for a job. They may not be in a position to hire you. And don't whine about the difficulties you've had finding a job. Ask for help in small doses, perhaps by just starting off with a request for an informational interview to learn more about their organization and their career path. Listen. Be sure to keenly listen to what they tell you. You have asked for their time, so listen to what they share with you and follow up with a thank you note indicating that you heard what they were saying and you plan to take their advice. Respect your contact's time. If they say that they can meet with you for 20 minutes, watch the clock. Even if they are not aware of it, you should make sure that you finish up the conversation in the time that they have allotted for you. If they have shared another contact's name, first get permission from them to speak to that person and to use their name as a contact. Be careful with overusing the word networking. Although most people know what it means to network, it has become an overused term, especially with the advent of social media. Use alternative words and phrases instead. If you meet someone at a professional organization, ask if they'd be willing to sit down with you for 15 to 20 minutes at their office when they have time to tell you more about their career path and their organization, so you can gather more information for your job search. And don't be pushy or aggressive. Lastly, author Katherine Hansen reminds us that networking is a two-way street. Likely you know of a book, a resource, a website, or a contact that may be helpful to them. They may actually get just as much out of this connection as you, and be willing to reciprocate. And remember, it's not all about you. Here are some additionally effective networking tips. First of all, get off the computer. Don't spend all of your time applying for jobs online. You do need to make contact with people in person. Add a custom signature to your email so that people know how to contact you and they can check out your LinkedIn page. Get business cards so that when you meet people at professional organizational meetings or informational interviews, you can give them a card so they can easily remember how to contact you. Connect with connectors. Connectors are the individuals who have a broad network. And you can easily spot these individuals looking at their LinkedIn accounts. They typically have 500 plus contacts. These individuals have more contacts for you to make. And also, they tend to understand the importance of networking more than the average person. They are more likely to be okay with you being uncomfortable in your networking. They tend to like to network just for the sake of networking. Practice networking. Before you go out and have an informational interview with someone new, a cold contact, ask someone in your family or a friend to practice the informational interview with. Have a compelling story. Make sure you know exactly why you are networking and the story behind your job search. And know yourself. Know what you bring to the table. Know the experience and skills that you have. So if you're asked a question about what you could bring to an organization, you can quickly answer that. Don't speak negatively about past employers. Give yourself permission to be nervous, especially if you're just starting out with networking. It's normal to be nervous. Be sincere. You don't want to be schmoozy or act like you can help everybody. Expect and accept rejection and assistance. You will be rejected. Some people will not have time to meet with you, and that's okay. But you'll be surprised how many people are happy to help you. Remember that nobody owes you anything, and not to take it personally. Networking may not be a priority for the individual you're meeting with, even if it's a priority for you. So they may reschedule your appointment, or they may say not now. But don't take it personally. Just know that the time will come if they are going to be willing to help you. People do like to talk about themselves. I mentioned that one earlier. And then I added this one, if you snooze, you lose. So don't miss out on the opportunities to network. If you schmooze, you lose. Be sincere. If you booze, you lose. If you're at a professional organization meeting, a lot of times there'll be a happy hour involved. Don't drink. Make sure you're on your best behavior when you're meeting people in a networking situation. Send thank you notes. And lastly, you may want to create a networking resume to leave behind so that people know exactly what you're looking for when you are meeting with them. And I'll show you an example of that in just a moment. I do like the quote by Tom Hopkins, "If you listen twice as much as you speak, you will attract more people to your cause." So be sure to be listening when you're out there networking. Here's an example of a networking resume. This is one that a colleague of mine created. It's just terrific. It gives specific information about what that person is looking for and their past history, and it's something that they can leave behind with a networking contact. Feel free to pause this presentation if this is something you want to copy or write down. Here's some tips for networking with social media. Be sure to create and use a LinkedIn account. You'll want to make it professional. You'll want to have a professional picture, close-up of your face, and keep it professional. using keywords throughout the LinkedIn profile of what you bring and experience that you hope to gain or positions you're seeking. Clean up your online presence. You'll want to Google yourself and see what's out there with your name. Be sure to tighten up your Facebook privacy settings, or just make sure you're taking off any type of picture or comments that could be construed as offensive in any way. Remember, what happens on the internet stays on the internet. In LinkedIn, it's important to connect with both individuals and to join groups. Look for groups of individuals who share similar interests in your job search. Join those groups, make comments, connect with the individuals who make comments. You may want to start a blog, but keep it current and share it. Hootsuite is a great online format for sharing tweets, LinkedIn, and Facebook statuses all at once. And then watch LinkedIn for new jobs and promotions. If you see someone in your network getting a new job, make sure you send congratulations. And then again, remember, take it offline. Not only can you can network with LinkedIn and social media, but make sure that you see if you can meet with people in person. Social media is an important part of the job search. 89% of employers use social media during their hiring process, according to Dr. Dawn Graham. And that means that employers are looking at your Facebook account and they are looking at your LinkedIn account to see if the information on your resume jives with what you have on social media sites. Lastly, I've got some networking tips for introverts. If you consider yourself to be more introverted and have a hard time meeting lots of new people, here are some suggestions. Start with your warm contacts first so that you can practice. And meet individuals one-on-one. You may want to avoid large group settings initially in networking job clubs, but you want to go to those. And when you do any large group gatherings, see if you can volunteer to assist. If you're assisting with registration, it won't feel as awkward standing there trying to make conversation. As you're assisting with registration, you will automatically be meeting everybody who comes through the door, so it's a great way to get started. Have an exit interview strategy. So if you find that you're talking to someone at a large group gathering and you want to meet someone else, or you're feeling uncomfortable, just make sure you have something that you can say that will allow you to leave. For example, I have a babysitter coming, or a babysitter I need to get home to relieve, and so that's a way for you to get out of that situation. Again, the advice for connect with connector types, individuals with those 500 plus contacts, those individuals really do understand more likely how other people are more uncomfortable with networking. View contacts as professional friends. These are people who are there to help you. Conduct informational interviews, and I've got some questions you may want to use for informational interviews on the next slide. And lastly, a great resource is to read Quiet: The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking by Susan Cain. Her website is thepowerofintroverts.com. Informational interview questions. As I noted earlier in the presentation, informational interviews are a great way to conduct and begin networking, and especially if you are more introverted. When you get a chance to meet with somebody in a networking situation, these are some of the questions you may want to ask them. How did you get started in this field? What kind of education or training do you need to qualify for this position? What do you love about your job, and what challenges you the most? What are the most critical needs in your position, company, or industry? What are the best ways to meet others in this field and learn more? What kind of salary could I expect to make if I were just starting out in this field? This is a great question to ask if you want to gather salary information, and it would be rather uncomfortable to ask an individual, how much are you making? This allows the individual to give a ballpark figure for someone who is just starting out without revealing what they themselves make. Would you be willing to review my resume and provide suggestions? And lastly, do you have any contacts you would be willing to share with me? And that's so that you can continue your networking and looking for job searches. This last slide has a bunch of really great books and websites that can help you with additional networking. And I will leave it at that. Thank you so much, and feel free to check out our website, careersolutionsinc.org, or give us a call at 651-647-9961.